This is my '69 Impala, and it has a problem. The rear suspension has a very large amount of travel due to worn out shocks, which I plan on taking care of today. You're going to need a 13mm box wrench, a 13mm socket wrench, a 19mm open end wrench, and an impact with a 19mm socket. You can go ahead and start the project by unbolting the bolts that sit at the top of the shocks. To aid in removing these, because they will want to spin freely as they get looser, you can set your 13mm box wrench at the top and use your socket from the bottom to loosen the nut and the washers. Once you're finished with this, you can go ahead and break loose the shock at the bottom with your 19mm impact socket, and then go ahead and loosen the shock from the suspension arm using your 19mm open end wrench. Here I go ahead and show the mounting hardware for the new shocks, including the crush washers, and then I show how to go ahead and mount those, and I would recommend doing that before putting the new shocks in, as it gives you much more room to work. Once you finish with installing the bottom side mounting hardware, you can come to the top and start the top side mounting hardware, as well as begin installing your new shock. Always remember to install your washers along with your nuts. Once you have the mounting hardware partially threaded in, you can go ahead and remount the shock. And go ahead and bolt everything up, being sure to use your box end wrench to assist in tightening down the topside mounting hardware. Once you finish mounting the shock absorber at the top, you can go ahead and remove the strap that keeps it partially compressed, and you need to be quick. Once you remove that, you're going to have to push it onto this mounting spindle very quickly, or else it'll over travel and you'll have to recompress it. You can go ahead and remove the strap that goes around the shock, and then you can go ahead and try and press the shock onto the spindle a little bit further. But a trick I've found that really helps is to partially thread on the nut that keeps the shock captive behind the bushing, and go ahead and use that to tighten the shock absorber onto the spindle before removing the nut and restarting. Here I was able to skip that step, but you could just go ahead and torque everything down with your impact, and that should be tightened up enough. Once you finish installing all of your mounting hardware on the bottom end with your 19mm impact, go ahead and double check tightness with your open end wrench. As shown in this clip here, the new shocks have really made a world of difference on this car.